Hello, everybody. This is His Holiness Stuart Allen Swerdlow,
And Janet Diane Moria Swerdlow.
who is unholy.
I don't have holes.
You don't?
Guess I do.
Well, I have holes from where you stabbed
Yeah,
me.
there's some holes.
Yeah.
So I've got
You want to see
some.
my holes?
That
'Cause
means
I have
I'm
to
holy too.
show my scars where you tried to decapitate
I'm
me.
holy too.
Anyway, this is the Expansions News Podcast, Addendum 2 for the middle of August 2018.
And this is very interesting because this has to do with programming youth and children.
How unusual.
How unusual. Exactly. And if you remember last week, I told you about how they're telling people that it makes you more employable if that you have plastic surgery on your face and all that.
Well, I never needed that.
Well, now there's now they're trying to, on top of that, they're trying to tell you that you're better off if you have fillers done to your hands.
What do you mean fillers done to your hands?
Well, apparently, because they'll say, like, if your face might lie, because, people have all their plastic surgeries and things done, but if you look at your hands, they say your hands can't lie.
Well, how do you fill that in?
Well, apparently the procedure only takes 30 minutes,
Oh,
but guess what it will cost you?
$10,000.
Not that much, $2,000. And then you have to top it off every 6 to 12 months. You have to be numbed. You use
I'm numb.
anesthetic. It's they claim it's relatively painless with minimal bruising, some
But what
swelling.
is it?
They,
You just stick needles in your fingers?
and they make your hands plump.
Why would I want fat hands?
Well, it says
How could you even bend your fingers?
apparently you've missed the boat, dear, because it says you should begin treatment in your 20s, but no later than your late 30s.
Well, forget it. I'm screwed.
Right, and it's to revolumize your hands.
Revolve
So
my
point
hand.
being is they're having you change absolutely every part of your body.
So you don't have little Trump hands?
Your bottom, your muscles, you name it, you change
Don't
it.
touch my bottom.
And that creates a different altar for you to wear. So,
Well, it comes in handy, doesn't it?
yes, it does. And it says the general trend is moving away from invasive surgery towards minimally invasive techniques, including tissue fillers, botulinum toxins,
Ooh.
and that's botulism, which paralyzes you, microneedling, and laser.
Ooh.
So I'm just telling you, don't do this to yourself because you're falling into the program.
My hands are beautiful anyway.
Now, that's young people. Now we're going to get even younger.
But you've got something.
What?
Unless you have that story.
What?
That the next thing to get a job is to have tattoos that are visible.
I told you that last week.
You did?
Were you listening?
Probably not.
Yeah, I did talk about that.
Okay, never mind. Go on.
Okay, so now back to younger children, K through 12. Teachers are praising, quote, drag queen story hour. Now, I told you about drag queens giving presentations in public libraries. Now they're actually bringing them into the schools. Maurice Sendak Community School, which is a public school located in Brooklyn, New York,
Brooklyn?
hosted a drag queen, and first grade teacher Alexis Hernandez marveled at the event in a testimonial published on Drag Queen Story Hour's
So
website.
Brooklyn's like, hey, you's a drag queen or something?
She says, quote, Drag Queen Story Hour gave my first graders a fun and interactive platform to talk and think about social and
Yeah,
emotional
yeah.
issues like acceptance, being yourself, loving who
Right.
you are. And during our debriefing, the students were, listen to this word, preaching the incredible lessons they had learned, like it's okay to be different, and there's no such thing as boy and girl things.
Ah, right.
Now, this program, that according to their website, says captures the imagination and play of, listen to this one, gender fluidity of childhood, and gives kids glamorous, positive, and unabashedly queer role models.
Oh, so that's a good word. Yeah.
So, anyway.
So they want them to dress like a drag queen.
Well, they want them to understand that it's okay to be different, and there's no such
How
thing
about,
as
is
girl
it
and
okay
boys.
to be mentally ill?
Now, the first grade teacher says she's going to host the event again, and then
She needs to be exterminated.
another teacher named Katrina Green, a teacher from Chickpeas Preschool in Boston.
Chickpea?
Chickpeas Preschool.
This is all in Brooklyn.
Preschool. This is younger than kindergarten. This is preschool. She claims, quote, the event allows preschool children to deepen and complicate their ideas about gender at the exact age when they are often developing rigid ideas about this concept.
Okay, so I'll translate. It makes them so effed up in the head that when they grow up, they don't know what they are.
Yeah.
And then we can program them more.
Yes, the Drag Queen Story Hour markets itself to children between 3 and 8 years old.
I would not put my child in that school.
No. And now listen to this. Now, the person who actually filmed this, I'm going to give you their names. Sean McDonald is the videographer, and the David Horowitz Freedom Center. And the reason I'm telling you that is because they're against this, and that's why they're videotaping it and letting people know what's going on. And they have a website called StopK12Indoctrination.org.
So they're against
They are
this.
against
All
it.
right,
And
good.
the videographer says that there is a spike in children identifying as transgender within the past few years. Well, guess why? Because
Why?
they're telling them
Yeah,
to
don't be
this.
a girl and don't be a boy. Just be a giraffe.
Yeah. And the videographer goes on to say the taxpayer is funding adult-themed performers to come and read to our smallest children in order to indoctrinate them into a political ideology about gender, while at the same time school districts across the country are removing any and all references to biological sex from science
Oh my
textbooks.
goodness.
So again,
People.
this is StopK12Indoctrination.org. So I think this person has a lot of good information on that site. Or if you need somebody, it's a platform to, if something's going on in your school that you want stopped, this might be a constructive way to help. And speaking of which, in Virginia, the Virginia School Board passed sex ed changes despite a 90% public disapproval. 90%
We're against
were
it.
against.
And it still went through.
Yes, the Fairfax County School Board passed changes including the replacement of biological sex, that term, with, quote, sex assigned at birth.
No, sex is not assigned at birth. The doctor looks between your legs and sees if it's a vagina or a penis and says that's what it is. It's not assigned. It's given by God.
And listen, we talk about it in this book, intersex people who are actually have chromosomes where they cannot be determined.
That's a different category.
This is different than programming what's in your head to tell you something else.
If you have genitalia of a gender, that's what you are. It's not assigned. You were
Exactly.
born with it.
So, and then I want to go on to talk about, again, programming of our young people. Because there's so much of this anti-police movement out there. And I've told people many times that when I was growing up, I was always told if you have a problem, you go to a police officer, they're your friends, and they will help you.
Well, not anymore.
Well, we have a lot of clients and friends who are police officers. And there's a big campaign, again, to divide and conquer and
Right.
pit people against people. So, listen to this story. This actually happened last June, but in my research I found it. And it's important enough I'm bringing it up because it ties into other things going on. So this title of this article was Chicago Principal Invites Anti-Cop Activists to Speak to Students on Career Day.
He invited someone who's against the police to speak to the children.
On Career
Was
Day.
he dressed as a drag queen, perhaps?
The principal was actually a female, Mary Beth Kunat, a principal at the Chicago Public Schools, garnered widespread criticism and outrage when she invited an extreme anti-police activist who is known for his violent, cop-bashing rhetoric to speak to middle school
Why would
students
you do that?
on Career Day. His name is Ethan. I'm not going to tell you his name. You can look it up.
Right.
He's self-described radical who calls cops pigs. He posted all kinds of violent comments, and I'm going to tell you about. This is who this woman invited to speak to middle
How
schoolers
could that be allowed?
on Career Day.
How could that happen?
Well, this was interesting. This was grades 6 through 8 at Wildwood Elementary School. So, anyway, apparently, of course, after it happened, the parents complained. Then she wrote a letter of apology, and then she claims that she stopped the narrative when he took a negative turn, like it's surprise.
His presence is a negative term.
But this was the last sentence of this article. She also made a sudden decision to retire.
Yeah, I bet. Like either you do or you're going to be exterminated.
Yeah, but in the meantime, these young kids were already exposed, right? So there's some kind of
Damage
agenda.
is done.
Damage is done. Now, police union objects to schools' anti-cop summer reading choices. This is in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. Their summer reading list gave four possible choices, and 2 of them were negative against police officers. And again, I'm not going to tell you about it. If you're interested enough, you can read it. But Jack Blackman, who's the president of the Fraternal Order of Police Tri-County Lodge Number 3, reported that he had been contacted by hundreds of community members, both parents of students at the school and fellow police officers who objected to this reading list. And he said, quote, there are other socioeconomic topics available. and they want to focus half of their effort on negativity towards the police. That seems odd to me. Freshmen, they're at the age where their interactions with law enforcement have been very minimal. They're not driving yet, they haven't been stopped for speeding, they don't have these type of interactions. This is putting in their minds, it's almost, get this word again, indoctrination of distrust of police, and we've got to put a stop to that indoctrination. They're programming our youth against police and everything you see.
It's anarchy, it's the anarchists,
yes.
It's the Antifa group.
Yeah, so you have to be aware of these things, and unfortunately, like I said, we have a lot of clients, we have friends who are police officers who are very good people.
Yes, they are.
And they want to do good in the world. So,
in fact, I had a consultation with one just this past week, and we were talking about the body cameras and how they're picking up, all these people being,
right.
Police being abused. He says, when you're seeing that on the news, you're only seeing that part. You're not seeing what led up to it. Right. They cut and they edit it.
Right. So again, this is all programming, divide and conquer, as I keep telling you. And this one, again, I'm going to call this one programming again because it's out there. Once they put things out there, even though it's small, it becomes, after a while, the abnormal becomes normal. So this is a girl, a teenager, 16 years old, who was given a gift. Who would give a gift? I don't say that. Was given a gift of a zombie doll named Kelly that she found on a creepy doll collection website. So she got this doll when she was that magic number 13, right?
Any zombie doll would be on a creepy website.
Yeah, and it's very creepy. You can look that up too. So anyway, very creepy. But this girl who's 16, Felicity Cadlick from Massachusetts, now claims she's been in a relationship with this doll for the past 3 years. She said but then she says when she was 16, she started getting feelings for her. She tried to deny it. We have a normal, intimate relationship.
So it's a female doll.
It's a female doll.
And she's
a female. And they're getting married in September.
They should marry the doll.
Yeah.
And someone's going to do that.
I don't know. She's told herself her feelings for the doll were wrong at first, but then she came to terms with it. The relationship's been on and off. She tried to break it off, but she can't.
Where are her parents?
That's what I want to say. Now, listen, her parents says she receives criticism from family and friends, and if we go out, they won't let me bring Kelly with me.
Good.
If we go for food, she has to stay inside the car because people will stare at her, so we've never been able to have a date in public. So my point is, like you, where are the parents? Why does this girl still have the doll?
Why is this girl not in a mental institution?
And why is she not in some kind of counseling? This is programming.
No, she needs medication.
Programming. So, anyway, I just want you to be aware.
Although you're my zombie doll.
Well, I hope I don't look like her zombie doll. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. True Reality of Sexuality, 13 Cubes. These are things you need to read. Our healing books, please. You need to do the Brown Merger Archetype, self-reintegration. You need to do basic deprogramming exercises, do our healing work, Hyperspace Plus, healing archetypes and symbols. All these things will help you. And if you start having feelings or thoughts, this is abnormal programming
about an inanimate
stuff.
object.
All of this. It's about programming and divide and conquer.
That's where the sex spots are going to come in.
Where?
If you can marry a doll, you can have a sex spot and marry that.
Yeah, well, they're already doing those kind of weird things. It's not really news at this point. It's just unconventional. In my opinion, it will come to the point where it will be considered normal, and having a regular human relationship will be abnormal because they're tying you to the government. They're tying you to the global handlers. They don't want you...
astral entities.
Yes, they do not want you attached to have a normal relationship, period. No. And they're leading people down that primrose path, and they are going. So
not a primrose path.
It's not, trust me.
With spikes and weeds on the side.
Extremely satanic. You need to avoid it at all costs.
So please, people, do not marry a doll unless it looks like me or Jen.
No, even that, let's not go back. I don't want that.
Oh.
No. Be your own individual, unique self.
Well, we're living dolls.
Yeah, maybe, but be your own unique self. That's what we have to tell you.
Be a Viking.
So with that said, until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Bye-bye.
Bye.